Everybody, Kate Payne here from Standing Out Online, and I am happy to be with you on my first episode of 2026 of Coffee with Kate, Brewing Business Brilliance for Entrepreneurs. And I have my good friend and special guest today, Jim Fuhs, in the house too. And he is actually controlling all the back end too. So cheers, Jim.
Cheers.
Thanks for being with me today. So I'm super excited. We've got a really interesting topic today. So just to give you all a little background, and then we'll feed right into what Jim and I are going to talk about. I'm in the digital marketing space. I have been for a long time. My background is in journalism and marketing and public relations. And, I work with my clients through my company, Standing Out Online, to help them with their online visibility efforts. I have a special expertise in LinkedIn, which is a niche of mine, but also using media opportunities, being guests on podcasts, having my own podcast. And Jim is actually on my team. He is my my Coffee with Kate podcast producer, but he's also my tech guy. He's my video guy. He's my YouTube guy. And now he's my Substack guy. So I have been hearing him talk about it. I've been hearing lots of peers and colleagues of mine talk about Substack. And I kind of kept going, yep, I know it's there, but do I really want to try something else? But when I was talking to Jim just a couple weeks ago, which is what inspired me to have this episode, he was telling me that that Substack is really becoming a more popular platform. It's been around since 2017, but it's a great place for long form content. And a lot of people who use Substack are actually pretty active on LinkedIn. So that perked my ears up. And so you can really have a nice sort of marriage of a LinkedIn presence and a Substack presence. So before we get into all that, we're going to just start out with some real basics here. So if you've heard about Substack, if you know Substack and maybe you've just started on it yourself, you can put comments in the comments section and ask questions as we go. And we will feature your question and answer it live here. And of course, people will see this on the replay. So Sam Swirsky is on. Thank you, Sam. He says, excited for this. Glad to be here, Kate. I'm glad you're here, Sam. Thank you for tuning in. So Jim, give us just a little bit of background about yourself and what you do. I kind of just teased it for you, but just give us a little quick snapshot.
Well, just so it shows anything is possible, I am a retired Marine lieutenant colonel who was not a techie guy. I mean, I've always liked tech, and I became a digital marketer in about 2016, got away from working for the government. And I started live streaming in 2018 with the Tim and Jim show with my friend Tim Sohn, and Kate was on that show when we used to run it. And then during COVID, became an Amazon influencer with Dealcasters, helped my co-hosted with my friend Chris Stone. So we talk about all kinds of things on Amazon, and that's turned into a successful YouTube channel and podcast as well. And then I like and I hope he's doing well because I haven't heard from him in a while. Ross Brand first talked about he was going live on Substack. Now, I've had Substack for about 3 years, but I was just like writing blogs, and we'll go into more detail about what's going on with that. But I really like helping people, produce their live streams like you've given me the honor and privilege to do with Coffee with Kate.
I love having you do this.
And so, it's about producing live video and repurposing it. And that's one of the things too that I'm excited that we're going to talk about a little bit with Substack today, but we won't go into too much detail because I know we wanted to keep.
I just don't want to overwhelm people.
Yes.
I mean, that's the way I learn. It's like, give me a little bit to give me an understanding. It's like when somebody tried to remember when we both spoke at Jessica Phillips event in Lima.
Yes, right. I know. I want to see Lima too, but it's
Lima, Ohio. And I'm forgetting his name, Brian, who talked about Bitcoin. and crypto.
Yes.
And I had
I'm fans
no,
of.
like, you sort of know, but you don't know. And
Right.
he had a great way of explaining it that made me go, "Oh, I get it." It's still not something I do, but at least it gave me the intel. It gave me the information
Hmm.
about what it is. So this isn't, I don't think this is even as complicated as crypto or Bitcoin.
Right.
So thanks for sharing, your background. I think it's important for people to know, why you are an expert in this. So let's just kind of let's start simple here. So for someone who is brand new, what is Substack in just plain English, layman's terms?
So to me, it is a direct to creator platform,
Okay.
meaning that when you sign up for Substack and whether you follow or follow someone, like you can follow me and Kate, or you can subscribe, which is when you have a publication where you're actually putting content out there, that you now have a direct connection with that individual through direct messaging. Subscribers, you get emails, and you can email them individually or as a group. And it started out in 2017 as a blogging type platform, but it's
Mhm.
expanded to where it is social media in a sense. Kate just posted her first note.
I did, like, within the last hour.
Stack, which is, if you ever were a Twitter user, would be the same thing as retweeting. And so Notes is really the social media feed of Substack. And then you have Post, which are on your publication, which is its own website that is hosted by Substack. And you just have to subscribe to read people's post. So
So
that's
let's just pause there for a minute. I just kind of want to emphasize this. So if you are a Facebook user or a LinkedIn user, Instagram, we all do posts. But on Substack, if you create a platform, an account, then when you post what we would call the feed, it's called a note. And then
right.
the other aspect of your Substack account is that you can create basically your own web page or website, they call it. And then if you publish on the website, that is a post. Did I say it correctly?
Yes,
Okay.
right on the money.
So I just want to make sure we understand that. So even like when I was talking to Jim earlier before we went live, I said, I'm going to go over. I started my Substack account about 2 weeks ago, but I hadn't put any content there. And I almost said post. And so when I was talking to Jim, when we were preparing for this, I said, I'm going to go over and do my first note over on Substack. And then I'll have something, because I also know right now you are actually streaming this show via your StreamYard account to your Substack channel. So
Yes,
while we're
and we have
concurrently
4
streaming,
people watching us
how many?
over there. 4.
Oh, nice. Okay. So people are seeing this on my personal Facebook, my personal LinkedIn, and my YouTube channel for Standing Out Online. And then Jim is now streaming to Substack. And so that's something I'm going to be growing into, is to start streaming over to Substack. And I use StreamYard as my streaming tool, just for any of you who might be wondering about that. So let's talk a little bit about long form content. One of the things I have spoken to in front of my audiences and my clients is that when you really establish an optimized LinkedIn presence beyond just posting in the feed, you can actually, LinkedIn and LinkedIn's algorithm loves what we call long form content, which you don't want every post to be long form on LinkedIn, but people expect to have longer form content there than they may on, let's say, Facebook or Instagram. So when I was talking to Jim about moving over to Substack too, Substack, because you talked about how in the beginning it was really more blog friendly, if you will, or blog centric, that the long form content works there. So talk a little bit about that, because I don't want people to be confused with Substack being like another Facebook.
Right. So first of all, it's definitely not another Facebook, from the perspective of, you don't have to participate, quote unquote, in the notes feed if you don't want to. But I will tell you, as a beginner, that's definitely the way that you're going to grow your presence. It's no different than with LinkedIn. I'm sure, Kate, you tell people it's not always about what you post, but it's your engagement, it's connecting, it's community building. And even from the perspective, one of the beauties of Substack, you can have multiple publications. So maybe you want to
So would
start
multiple
something.
publications be multiple websites?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want, because I
Yes.
don't mean like your business website with your business URL. We're not talking about that website. We're talking about what they call a website or a web page on Substack.
Yes. But
Just
you can actually have a domain imported. So if you
you
wanted to
can.
make
Okay.
your, and some people are doing that, they're turning their website into their Substack is their site because you can add tabs that will take people to, as an example, your YouTube channel, your LinkedIn, or all these
Okay.
different places.
You know
So
what's
it's
cool right
definitely,
now is I'm sitting here and I've got my phone in my hand. I'm listening to you. Don't mind.
yeah,
I'm getting all these notifications that people are starting to go over because people are probably watching from your channel and they're literally happening in real time. About
yeah.
10 minutes before I came on the show, just to re-emphasize Jim's points about getting followers, people to follow your page, is this guy just posted January 7th. His name is, I'll just show you a quick little
Hmm.
screenshot. Nick, I just want you to know that I'm not making this up. And he says, my Substack jumped from 0 to 6,700 plus in 1 week. And this is how it's working. Post daily notes, reply to people, like as you scroll. Don't be afraid to share your writing. Show up, be human. It works, which is very similar to what I teach my people over about LinkedIn. It's a very, this is where relationships are built. This is where meaningful engagement can happen. So I'd love you to just maybe expand on that a little bit.
Yeah. So I think part of it, and it goes back to what Nick said, is you're creating content, and oh, by the way, you can post video, photos, text. They have ways within the app where you can even make your text, we'll call it fancy. I need to do a video on that, but it's really whatever you feel like sharing.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that appeals to people about Substack is from the algorithm standpoint, right? Which is one of the things that drove me away from Facebook,
Right.
amongst other things. Not to say I'm still not on Facebook,
Right.
is the fact that you post something that maybe is really good and nobody sees it, even if
Mhm.
you've got,
Like
thousands of
really good.
follow right. And you'll post that same thing on Substack or on LinkedIn, and you'll get better, engagement. But I also found I started to doing some, I'll call it experimentation.
Mhm.
So I'll post, a post that I put on Substack, I will then make into a LinkedIn newsletter. But the video portion, because you can have video with writing, so people
Yes.
can choose, like, do I want to read about this or do I want to watch the video? Like this show, once we're done today, I'm going to repurpose it on my Substack, and I'm going to write a summary of what Kate and I talked about. And it, might be a 5-minute read, but if they wanted to, then go watch this whole
Mhm.
episode on my Substack. But then I can share this on LinkedIn as my LinkedIn newsletter and say,
I
but if
love
you want
that.
to watch the video, here's
You
the
know,
link to my
even
Substack.
even I haven't done a LinkedIn newsletter. And it's not because I don't know how, it's just because it hasn't been part of my strategy. Because I do this show. So I use my Coffee with Kate show as a lot of my content on my various channels. But now that I'm adding Substack and I'm doing something a little different, right? I'm gonna grow into it a little bit, and then that is something that I might exactly do and create my own LinkedIn newsletter for that. But it's also a strategy I can share with my existing clients who have started a new LinkedIn newsletter, who are also starting to dip their toe into using Substack. So this is a
Yes.
great. I just feel like this. I said this to you in the green room. It's this nice marriage, like between LinkedIn and Substack. And
Yes.
one of the other things that you said that intrigued me, and it's kind of a segue into my next question, is I was going to ask you, who is Substack a good fit for, and maybe who it isn't for. So, kind of keeping that in mind, what types of people, what's sort of the demographic, like some aspects of the people who are sort of power users of Substack?
Well, it definitely, they have a bunch of categories, some that get more views than others. Culture is really big. Of course, politics is still big. And what's interesting there is what I like about it from the perspective of, and try not to get too political, but some of the journalists that we knew that used to be, like,
Yeah,
say, with the mainstream media,
yeah,
have been able to come and find their voice on Substack
right.
and not be censored and not be told, what they can and can't say. And so that's one of the things that I really like about Substack. You've got people putting all kinds of great information out there about AI. You've got people doing things in the education space. And so I think who it's really not for is if you're just somebody that just wants to throw video clips out. It's that really only works in the notes feed. And
Yeah.
so you're really not going to get that growth, because the advantage of Substack is that as you build a subscriber base, whether you're going to get paid subscribers or not, you are getting emails. And so that's one of the things that the other platforms, to include LinkedIn, don't give us, at least not in a upfront
Mhm.
method. And so and some people will take their email list and then they'll use things like Kit or whatever. So because there are some limitations in the email system for Substack at the moment, but I will tell you, they continue to improve. And even things like, you can tell from your email list who are the people that are really looking at your content, right? It
Right.
gives you like a 1 to 5 star thing. And so you may say, hey, I'm going to email all my top people and thank them, or I'm going to email all the bottom people and say, hey, what could I do to get you more engaged? Because the reality is, it's not that we want to go viral and have thousands of people.
Right.
I think we want to have an engaged community that really cares about what we're talking about. So
Quality over quantity, right?
yes. So even from the perspective what you're talking about, if you're talking about LinkedIn, and there are several LinkedIn people that are
Yeah,
doing
I've
a
been
lot on
noticing that.
Substack, talking about how to do better on LinkedIn, because it's still that thing of, I think, and I have in one of my slides, there's maybe 20 million people on Substack, and it continues to grow. But you still, it's kind of like other things, like, oh, what's Substack? And it's
Yeah,
that resistance of people like, oh, do I need another
I
app,
need
or
another
what
channel.
about,
Yeah.
Facebook or whatever. And I think you have to look at, like, well, what's best for you, and don't
Mhm.
get caught into the well, what's everybody else doing?
Exactly. Don't shiny object, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. All
exactly.
right. Well, we got
Exactly.
a lot to cover, and I know you have a quick little slide presentation for us, which is really good. And if so, stick around. Remember, anybody who's listening live, please, if you have any questions, put it in the comments, and I will pop it up on screen so that Jim can answer it. So, I was going to ask you this, like, what makes Substack feel different from LinkedIn or Instagram? I think we've kind of made the case for LinkedIn, but for people who are, I think we all just get into I don't want to say we get into a rut, but we just get into a rhythm, right? With our various strategies and our content marketing strategies and stuff. And so, like you said, like when you mentioned Substack, I was like, no, don't need anything else. But then when you started telling me how different it was, and yet also in, a complement to a LinkedIn presence, I was all ears. And this is also, I think, incumbent upon us as entrepreneurs, that especially if we're in the digital marketing space, we can't just shut off to everything else. We've got to learn. I'm not saying we need to learn everything, but we need to stay relevant, right, Jim?
Right.
So I want to become relevant about Substack, especially as a complement to people's LinkedIn's strategies. So, oh, my friend Gail is here. Hi, Gail. She's just says she's always a regular listener, so I appreciate that, Gail. She said this is helpful, Kate and Jim. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
you're welcome, Gail. I'm glad you're here. So, but let's talk just quickly, because then I want to get into your presentation. Give me a little sort of pro and con, if you will, of Substack to Instagram. I mean, they're not apples and apples.
Right. Well, I think, especially if we're talking about Instagram itself, uh, one, right, you've got to create pictures or video content, and it's really meant to be short stuff. I
Mhm.
mean, even though people can go live on Instagram, let's be honest with each other. I don't watch a lot of Instagram lives.
Yeah.
And I know there's this, people want to be able to go live, and because we're live right now, and the beauty of that is we are getting this engagement from folks like Gail and Sam, and over on Substack, Chris Stone and Sherry, a friend of mine. Good to see you, Sherry.
Hello,
So
Chris Stone.
only thing we can't do is share the comments to
Right.
to the screen from Substack, but maybe that's coming
That might
at
be,
some
well,
point.
StreamYard might be
Yeah.
making that switch too.
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing to me is the fact that if you're really, like we said, focused on the, like in Instagram's case, that video piece, this is really meant for content that is both written and audio and video.
Mhm.
So it's kind of that the whole smorgasbord. So if you're not comfortable writing, I don't think your publication is going to be successful.
Right.
Yes, you can host a podcast on there. Yes, you can,
Remember,
you know,
publication is website on Substack.
yes,
Yep.
yeah. But I think the fact that they have this app that you can even go live from the app, and so that's where it's kind of like Instagram. Like, hey, I can go live and I
Yep.
can flip my camera and I can show you what I'm doing. But I think the beauty of it is, as long as you have we'll call it strong enough signal, uh, you can go live from your phone. Like maybe you're out, on a walk somewhere, and you want to kind of share things with people. And actually, it's funny you mentioned Instagram because Sue B. Zimmerman, who is known as the Instagram queen, she's on Substack now,
Yep.
and she is doing a lot on there, and she kind of sees the difference. And I would even say she's rebranding herself on Substack a little bit differently,
I
just like
noticed
our
that.
friend
I know,
Vivica.
I know Sue as well. Yeah.
Is that they are focusing on helping women entrepreneurs
Hmm.
in a way that's not as easy. And I think it's because of the website slash publication, we can organize our content in a way that's helpful
Right.
to the reader. Where with LinkedIn, Facebook, even YouTube, I know, even though we can do what we call it on YouTube, the kind of like the channels where we,
Yep.
or the playlist, it's still not intuitive to people
Hmm.
when they come to that site. What am I supposed to do?
Right.
Where do I find this, or where do I find Kate's last show? Right? It's
Right.
it's somewhere in there, but that's where I think that's part of the power of where Substack over these others, because they're all more chronological.
Agreed. So we have a great question from Sam. So when we were talking about the LinkedIn sort of marriage with
Mhm.
Substack, he asks a great question. So can you please talk about commenting strategy on Substack? Is it comparable to LinkedIn? That's an excellent question.
Absolutely. I think that, in fact, I would tell you is probably more important than getting caught up in, oh, I got to create new content.
Right.
Going back to Nick's, you know, success that he was talking about, he is he's probably doing that with the notes as he's commenting on other people's things, or maybe he's subscribed and reading someone's post and he's restacking that post as a note.
So
That's
can
what
I
I
just interject?
Yep.
Hold that thought. So when you say restacking, we hadn't covered what that meant. So
Right.
restacking means that when you do a note, what we might call a post, and you share it, right? Or you
Hmm.
comment. Which one is it? Both? What is
Well,
it?
you don't have to, you don't
Describe what
have to,
restacking means.
it's sharing.
Okay.
But that's how you share someone's post or share
Okay.
someone's
So
note
on
to
LinkedIn,
your
that's the
audience.
repost feature. So
Yes.
restacking is just the lingo for Substack to share
Yes.
something. Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to be
Yep.
clear on that.
Yep.
And the other thing I wanted to mention relative to LinkedIn too is that LinkedIn over the last year and a half or so, or a little bit longer, LinkedIn is rewarding people more from the algorithm standpoint for engaging on other people's content versus just your original content that you initiate. They still want you to do that, but they're seeing the importance of engaging and having conversations with people, and they're rewarding that. So if the more you engage with others on LinkedIn, the more your content has a chance to be seen. So it sounds like a similar kind of objective on Substack. Would that be fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And,
Okay.
and I think it's important because when you restack slash share something, why are you
Yeah.
doing it?
Right.
And I think, and you can tag people, right? It's no different than LinkedIn. So, just as an example, Kate probably has it in her Substack notifications. I tagged her
I already got it. Yep.
when I shared the post right now, which is the live stream, and we're up to 7 people watching on Substack. Just
Woohoo.
so you know, it definitely, and remember, I did not pre-advertise this. I
Okay. Wow, that's
literally,
great. That's good to
when we
know.
went live, it sent an email out to my subscriber list that I'm live right now. Granted, they may not be able to make it, and that's okay. But I think that is something that is really cool. Oh, let me read this over from Christy over on Substack. She said, Katie and Jim, thank you for teaching all of us about Substack. For people just starting on Substack, what's more important in the first 90 days? Consistency, clarity of voice, or audience growth, and why? And I would say it's consistency, because I think
Yep.
people give up too quickly.
Right.
I think, you may say, God, or it's even the intimidation of what do I do? And part of it is planning, right?
Mhm.
Start thinking in advance. I tend to try to post, right? Post to my publication about once a week, maybe once every couple weeks. It depends on, what's going on. But then I get opportunities like this. If I know I can go live on Substack as a guest, I can now use this content as a post because it's related to what my Substack is about, which is partially, it's Jim's writing and video journey. And I'm showing people how we're using video on
Right.
Substack and how you can repurpose it, and, and building that community, because that's what I'm looking for, is people that want to use video, but also see the power of the repurposing.
Yes.
So that's the other thing, is you don't try to be all things to all people. Figure
Right.
out what it is that you want your Substack to be about, because that's who you're going to attract. Now,
We just got a question for Sam.
Yep.
So it's good. I saw you take a breath. Does StreamYard support multi-streaming to Substack? And I don't think it does yet. But Sam, Kate Payne, am using my StreamYard account, and I pay for a subscription that allows me to stream to 3 channels concurrently. Substack is not an option yet, so I can't do it even if I wanted to. So I stream to my personal Facebook page, my personal LinkedIn page, and my YouTube channel for Standing Out Online. Okay, but what Jim is doing, because he has all the video tech, he's got like a second camera, if you will. He has logged into a StreamYard account because he can do that. And then he can choose to air it somehow, some way over to Substack. So maybe explain that aspect, Jim.
Yeah. So if you have custom RTMP as one of your destinations, you can, StreamYard gives you a stream key and a stream URL that you put as a destination. Now that the stream key changes for every time you go live. So that's something you have to change. But and I think your plan does have it, Kate, but you would have to replace one of your 3 or
Right.
upgrade.
And I'm
So,
just not
but
ready to do that yet.
as a guest, StreamYard allows guests to add 2 destinations. So
Right.
that's
So
how we add it.
Sam, just so you know, so like if I ever interview somebody else that has a StreamYard account in advance, I can say, if you have a StreamYard account, you can actually stream it to your channels too. And so you can get sort of like more eyes on the comment. So anyway,
Right.
You're welcome, Sam.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, but it works with Ecamm. You could actually even use Zoom to go live on Substack. And
Oh, you can?
those are some of the
That's
things.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Those are some of the videos that I've been creating, showing you how to do it. But they also added the ability for you to go live from the desktop, but it has some limitations, and that's why using something like StreamYard or Ecamm is much better if you
Okay.
really want to have that capability. But yeah, so you definitely can do it from StreamYard, Sam. I think, and I can't confirm, but I think what they did, it used to be live streaming was in beta, but you had to have at least 10 subscribers before you could go live. But we see that we're gonna get you some visibility, Kate, just from being on the live stream today. That may get you enough folks that you'll be able to start going live sooner.
I'm so intrigued with this now, and I'm so grateful that I have Jim in my life to help me do this, because I want to hit the ground running right. But also, as I get my people, my audiences, whether it's in my group program or it's my one-to-one work with my clients, I want to be able to talk intelligently about Substack, because it's not going to be for everybody. It depends on your goals. It's always like, you never want to just pick up the shiny object just because you want to say you have the shiny object. If you're going to and do any of these things, and I'll tell you, I'm actually really contemplating from a business standpoint, backing away from Facebook. It's still where I have a lot of my listeners and connections, especially through my eWomen network community, which is my cherished community of which Gail is a part. And at the same time, though, you've almost got to do this like in baby steps, because I don't want to just pivot and shift, because then I'm going to lose all the people that still learn from me over here. So it's all a strategy, and that's why I wanted to have this this talk today about this. Also, by the way, just as an FYI, StreamYard always had 5 sort of channels that you could pick one to stream. And one of them used to be Vimeo, but it's no longer there. There's only 4 now. I don't know if you knew that, Jim. So
We'll see how long that changes.
5 apps that LinkedIn approves, not StreamYard approves.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So,
but StreamYard or Bending Spoons now owns Vimeo. So
yeah,
we'll see
right.
how things
but you can choose StreamYard, you can choose Switcher, Restream, and then there's another one that I can't remember, but it used to be Vimeo was one of the 5, and now it's not. When I went into LinkedIn to check it a few days ago, LinkedIn has no longer got a partnership or whatever with or an affiliation with Vimeo for streaming from StreamYard. So that's kind of interesting. So it'll be interesting though to see if they start to allow you to stream to Substack. So all right, so I want to get to your presentation. One more question before we do that, because his presentation is not lengthy, everybody. So please stay in here. And if someone wants to consider or explore Substack without overcommitting, what is the simplest way for them to start?
Well, I would say create the account, create your profile, and just start out with the notes feed. Start searching for stuff that interests you. Follow some of those people, subscribe to them, so you'll start to see their content. So get into that habit of in a sense, I'll say like the old Twitter, right? Just start building that list of things that you find interesting that you share with others. And then that might give you the confidence to start actually putting your own content out on your publication. So I think that's probably the quickest way is like, it's like, don't make the excuse of like, well, I got to come up with my publication name and I've got to do this and do that. You can change your publication name. So at first, if you just start out, it's you as yourself. That I think is probably the most important thing is,
you could just be a listener, right? Like you could,
exactly.
Like what I did when I started my Substack, about 2-3 weeks ago, I went in and set up the account. I created my graphic for the banner so that there was information there. So it wasn't just no profile photo and just a blank banner, so that and then I didn't post yet. I meant to post sooner than I did, but I just didn't. And now that this is sort of my kickoff, you know what I mean? Like now I'm going to be more, but I have been going in and just listening and following people. So this is my other thing. There's following and there's subscribe. And it's very important I think following people know what that means, but subscribe, give us a little bit more on that. Cause I'm still a little confused and you're going to talk about this when we get to your presentation. We're going to talk about how you can monetize your Substack. And by the way, Substack is completely free. Everything's free. Yes. So you don't need to upgrade to get more features or anything, at least not at the moment. But when you subscribe, are you subscribing to their notes feed, or are you subscribing to their website, or is it
You're
both?
Subscribing to the website / publication.
Okay.
Follow, you're seeing what they put in the notes feed only.
Okay.
So if you don't, so you may see like in their notes feed, they might restack one of their posts, but until you subscribe to that publication, you will not be able to read the article.
And I haven't. So the other thing that kind of floored me at first is when I hit subscribe, like when I went to yours after we talked, you have a monetization and so it shows up saying, do you want to pay $2 a month or whatever it is?
Right.
And I wasn't ready for that, but you don't have to pay. So you can still subscribe for free. So, but that can be a little confusing if you don't know.
Yes. And so, yeah, so the whole idea is that as you grow your community through your publication, through subscriptions, you can do what we call paid only content. So we could have gone live on Substack and only our paid subscribers would see this live stream.
Okay.
The people that don't pay wouldn't see it.
Okay.
The same
Okay.
thing with
Interesting.
any of your type, so as an example, maybe you wanted to do, if you want to call it like a webinar sort of thing, your paid subscribers would get the notification, they could watch it, they could engage. And then when it's done, right, they could still go back later and see it, but all your free subscribers would not.
Okay.
They wouldn't even
Interesting.
know that you were out there. So that's kind of I don't know if that creates a little bit of FOMO maybe, but that may be where you create some stuff that is specifically for those people that are choosing to become paid subscribers, and some people are doing extremely well with it. I went ahead and did it because I I'm looking at it also as a way to, because they don't have a tip option yet. But like, hey, if you support what I'm doing and you're finding value, you can become a subscriber, and it's not like it costs
Yeah.
millions of dollars to do
Right.
that.
Right. Right.
So I think nothing wrong with doing it, and they take 10% is what Substack gets off of the subscription. So
All right. So Doug Lehman, I just put it up, comment said, good advice, Jim, about getting started on a new social platform, listening, following to engage in layman's terms. So I love
yes, yes.
your play on words there and your name. That's pretty cool, Doug. So thank you for tuning in. All right. So Jim, explain before you put up your slides, just explain what you're going to kind of talk about. Some of it we've talked about, but
Yep.
feel free to go into it.
Yeah.
And
So
we're going to
I've
stay
got
on a little longer, everybody, because we're getting a ton of engagement. I love it. I'm seeing people from Facebook and LinkedIn. I can never tell if anybody's coming in from YouTube, but it's okay.
right. Well, you could, but if they were, but we have 9 people over on Substack. Doug was over there, and
Okay.
Juan
Thank you, Doug.
Santiago said hello, and Christy, of course, she asked her question over there. So yeah,
Okay.
I've got about 9 slides, but I'm going to go through them quickly because we covered some of it. But it
Okay.
was really, and kind of going back to your question, what is Substack good for? Well, it's really good for thought leaders and entrepreneurs because they
Yay.
can share their, what they're doing. And so, what is it, right? It is, as much as people think it's new, it actually started in 2017 as a publishing platform. You could say in some aspects it was like a medium competitor, but the difference being that it is expanded beyond the blogs and the podcast and now having video as a piece of it, which the others have not done. And then of course the algorithm or non-algorithm pieces, it's direct to their inbox, because if I subscribe and you create content, I get an email from you, Kate, from Substack saying, here's Kate's latest post. And then I can choose to start engaging right there in the inbox. I can open it up and it'll bring me into Substack and
I
allow
do
me
like that
to
feature.
do that. And so that's one of the things I think is really powerful, because, and I'll have people say things like, well, but what if Substack, goes away or whatever? Well, guess what? You can export that email list.
Mm.
So you've
Oh,
built
that's
that
huge.
list that everyone always talks about, and you say,
Right.
hey guys, this is where I'm going now. So it's not, to me, it's not a waste of effort, because you're going to get those emails. And going back to one of the reasons that Facebook to me is a challenge is, right,
Yep.
live streaming. They, first they stopped allowing you to live stream to groups unless you went through all this extra effort.
Mm-hmm.
And then the algorithm keeps changing, and then you don't get people's emails. And then, oh, by the way, remember when one day the AI on Facebook decided to shut down all these people's groups with thousands of
Yeah.
people in some cases, and they didn't have their emails,
Right.
right? So they could have completely lost everything if it didn't get reinstated.
So I
And
have
so
a
that's
question about for you on the email piece. So when I was establishing my Substack presence, it gave me this option in the checklist to upload my email list. So
Mhm.
my assistant sent me a CSV file of the email list, but I didn't want to do it because I wanted to ask you about it first. So if I upload my over 1,500 names on my email list, what does that do for me from the sub? It doesn't see, like, if you connect your Gmail to your LinkedIn and you choose to sync those contacts, that automatically sends out a thing to all those people on your list. And I always tell people to turn it off and not do it because it's just too convoluted. So if I do that, what is that? How does it benefit me? Do I have it to be concerned about uploading that email? Like, what does it do once I upload the
Well,
email list?
since these people have opted in to be on your email list,
Right.
you're basically adding that to your existing list on Substack. So they will start to get your Substack content.
Okay.
But I purposely did not do that because I have a separate email list as well because I wanted to kind of grow it organically
Me
through
too, which is
Substack.
exactly, okay, I'm really glad I asked that
Yeah.
question. Okay.
Yeah. Because I think what you could do with your other email list is like, hey guys, I'm over on Substack. If you're
Right.
interested,
Yeah, much better.
here's the link. Get, and maybe you offer them something in
Much more
that.
personal, it's
That would,
much more targeted, and I just think it's, good manners.
right. Right.
Okay, I'm glad
Exactly.
I asked, great, because I
Yeah.
wasn't sure about that. I was like, "Oh, that doesn't feel good right now."
Right.
So,
Right. And so this is some of the big things about the direct audience connection. Like I said, straight to their inbox.
I love this, no algorithms.
Yeah. And also, right,
Hope that
focus on
doesn't change.
value, not clicks. Like nobody cares about clicks. You're looking to build. I think it's a community building platform.
Okay,
I'm getting to meet people, learn about people, people that I probably wouldn't have found on these other platforms because the algorithm wasn't going to feed it up to me.
right.
And I think that's important. You're building trust with people. There's also another feature you'll see later as your Substack grows, Kate, or even subscribing to me. You have a chat feature. Now, the chat is kind of like this internal to your publication where you could like, what do you find is your biggest challenge with tech? And your subscribers can put the comments in there and you can write them back, but it doesn't like pollute your publication. It's like its own little
Hmm.
ecosystem.
Again,
And
reminder
so,
for everybody on the replay, publication is your Substack website.
right. And then, and of course, you're controlling this connection. You can still block people, mute people, all that sort of stuff if you run into, every once in a while you get some of that going on, but
The vitriol,
maybe
yeah.
not as bad as some of the other platforms. Um,
I was
I
gonna
think
say,
this
I'm gonna
is,
say it anyway. I'm just
yeah,
glad it's not Meta.
yes,
You know,
yes.
I mean, I still am gonna keep my Facebook and Instagram for personal fan whatever, but,
Yep.
I really am excited about this.
Yeah, and I think this is big. I kind of hit on this a little bit earlier. You
Yep.
own your list, right? You
Mhm.
can export it. You can, uh,
So
you know,
could you take people if they subscribe to your Substack? Could I legally, legitimately add them to my CRM email list?
yes, people
Yeah,
do
I
that.
can?
Yes,
Is
yes.
there like a term of service for that? Like, it's
Um,
legit? Like,
it is. I mean, they let you do it. I haven't seen anything because it goes back to people have opted in to you to
right.
begin with by joining your Substack.
Because
So
people have asked me for years, if I get people that sign up for my LinkedIn newsletter on LinkedIn, can I take them and add them to my CRM email? And that is a hard no.
right, because they've never opted in to
Right.
give you
So
their
this is
email.
different.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because some people, because they like the functionality of some of the email marketing programs, will take that list from Substack and put it into their email marketing program. And even if it's Substack type info, they'll send it out that way. So
Okay.
it gives
Okay.
you that
Interesting.
option.
Well, I guess what I could do in my CRM is I could have, well, I'll have to talk to Christy about this. A tag or a segment that would be,
Hmm.
these are the names that have come in from just Substack, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which would be smart to do anyway.
Right.
'Cause it's like a
Right.
tracking, it's a metric. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry to keep jumping in here,
No,
but
no, it's okay. And then these are, we kind of talked a little bit about this. Substack offers you the ability to turn on paid subscriptions. They can be, monthly, annual. They can have founding members, and you can offer extra features based on what level they pick, or they can be free subscribers. People sell products. They'll have a tab or links in their publication, maybe as a separate. Think of it as like another page on your website where it's like, hey, here's the products I offer. Here's how to sign up for my courses. Affiliate marketing, even sharing that in notes. There's no punishment for link sharing. That I think is one of the most
That's
important
huge.
things.
So like
Yeah.
if you post, I'm going to jump in again. So for those of you who listen to me and I talk about this about LinkedIn and even Facebook, if you put a link to something, like let's say you are doing a webinar and you have a link to your landing page for people to register. So technically LinkedIn, its algorithm, and Facebook's too, says that if you put a link, an external link to somewhere other than Facebook, basically, or LinkedIn in that sense, that the algorithm will ding you for and won't let you get the reach. I say I don't care about the algorithm. I'm going to still post the link because it's user friendly to the person who's reading my post. And so I don't, because there's other ways that I'm trying to reach people to inform them about my webinar anyway. So I just wanted to kind of underscore the
Right.
difference.
Right. I
That
think
you can
that's
put in links on your post and you're not, there's no algorithm to ding you.
right. Exactly. Some of the way, what I call the best practices is define your objectives, what's your brand going to be about, know what is your target audience. Once again, right? If you're
Yeah, you always need to
writing
know that.
about LinkedIn, then that's the type of people you're looking for. You're not
Right.
looking for, people that are in the sports. And there are some sports things out there. I follow a couple of Braves writers that post content on there, and I like the fact that it's so easy to engage with them because of the way the Substack algorithm works.
Yeah.
And now they don't have a scheduling feature yet. So think about when you want to post things. I almost look at it, and I do this in general, even though there's all these tools out there that allow you to schedule. I tend to do my stuff in real time.
Yep.
Like,
Okay.
hey, if I'm going to post something, I'm posting it because that's when I'm more likely to pay attention. But because you are, as an example with post, emailing it out, you're going to get that, people are going to get to your content when it,
Right.
you know, fits their time schedule. Just like even with a live stream, we talk about it's not so much that the fact that people are watching us live now, which we love because we can engage with them, but people are going to watch the replay.
Yes.
And sometimes people get too caught up in like, well, how many people are watching live? Well, we've got,
You're
it looks like,
always going to have more people watch the replay than show up
yes,
live. It's the way it
yes,
is.
yes. And so don't sweat that. Let's see.
By the way, if anybody's listening and you're on live, just say I'm here. I'd love to know.
Yes. And so this is, I think, one of the big things. The category pirates, get some guys I follow on Substack, and they've written a lot of great books. They really talk a lot about this whole direct to creator. It's like it's a new category, right?
Mhm.
Direct to creator, where we're now building those one-on-one relationships with that. And part of it is because we do have this decline in social reach, right? Because organically, the algorithms want
Right.
us to spend money on ads.
They do.
There's
Pay to
no
play.
ads right now on Substack.
There's no
So
ads?
there are no ads.
Okay.
So that's another thing. Now
Boy, I
that's
hope a
not to
lot of
say
this stuff doesn't change.
make they may come out with that later, or there's been talks that they may allow sponsorship sort of things, kind of like I think it's Beehive does,
Okay.
but it'll be there.
Okay.
And people are choosing to engage with your content on
Okay.
Substack.
All
And
right.
then so kind of the next steps, right? Define your niche.
Always, no matter what channel
Yeah.
you're on,
Yeah.
even on your website.
Oh,
If you
yeah,
have
wants me
just
to go back.
a regular website, everybody, you've always got to define your niche, even if you have several things you can do, but always focus in on that differentiator for yourself.
Gail asked me to go back to this slide for a minute,
Oh,
so
okay.
I was doing. So I guess it's a good slide.
Well, and also Doug said a good point made about external links on posts. Thanks, Kate. Know your desired outcomes with content, and good show with Jim.
Thanks, Doug. And so so hopefully that helps there, Gail. And then so the other thing is you can set up your branding. It's pretty easy to do. There's a bunch of people out there. I actually, I think too, that's something I need to put together as kind of a quick like a 2 or 3 page, how to get started with
Mhm.
Substack. I'm actually working on something where it'll be a lot more about the whole video portion of it, because there's a lot of things you can do with video to include, like I told you, Kate, repurposing for free on the back end. When this is done, this will create me clips of the show, and I can do captions, and we
Wow, that's
can
great.
share
That's
it out on
really,
social. So that'll
really
be
cool. I'm excited
that'll
about
be
that.
cool. And
So,
yeah,
planning
you're
your
building your
content is that
community
you
from day
said
one.
outline your first 8 to 12 posts. So do
Yes.
you mean
Yeah.
like
So
sort of
think
have
think
them banked and then put one out a
well, you
week?
kind of start thinking like this is how I'm going to progress with my website. If you want to think of what are those for, because like I said, do it once a week. Don't feel like you got to have it all at once.
Right.
Like your first post might be, this is why I started this Substack. This is what you're going to find
Yeah,
from
mine was
being a
pretty
part of my
simple.
community.
Like, hey, I'm
Yeah,
new here.
that's right. That's right. Um, and then if you want to connect with me, these are the three best ways. I'm also on YouTube, but I would say that, Substack has definitely become my favorite place because we can also have that, as our friend Jessica Suter likes to say, that dark web,
Yeah.
direct messaging. Like it doesn't all have to be
So
out
how
on
long, I know you said you had your account for a while. How long would you say you've been consistently focusing and making it a priority?
April of this past year when
Okay.
the live streaming really started, and I at the time had about 67 subscribers, and I'm now closing in on 500.
That's amazing. The other thing I was
And
going to ask you about the subscription. So if you decide to monetize it and have people pay, they can still follow you for free for most things.
yes,
But if you monetize it, how do you price it? Is it expensive?
I think it varies. I think they started out as suggesting like $5 a month. I
Okay.
don't know if you can go below five. You might be able to go below five, but what a lot of people will do is for an annual subscription, they give a discount. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
not like a straight line. Like hey, if I'm going to do a year, it's going to be the same as if I
Can
do
people
month to month.
cancel it if they want to?
They can.
Okay, so
They
it's not
can.
like you gotta wait a year and I mean, if they decide they don't wanna follow that person or pay anymore, they can, because what if somebody starts out, goes gung ho for 3 months, and then there's, like, nothing there, it's like, "Why am I paying for this?"
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so you
Yeah.
can do that, okay.
And you can do that. I would say if you do pay for an annual subscription, though, you're not going to get that back. So that may be why you would
Okay.
do
You wanna do the
monthly, because
monthly.
then you can cancel the monthly.
Okay. Alright,
So
do you
that,
mind,
yeah,
just turning your slides off? Because
I
I wanna
can.
put something else up here, and I don't want it to be
Yeah.
too busy. So Gail asks a really good question here about demographics. Is Substack finding that more executive level leaders are using Substack? Just wondering the who of Substack. So we kinda talked about that at the beginning, but I think it'd be good if we could get into just a little bit more specifics here, Jim.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you from what I'm seeing from my own Substack experience, there's a lot of smart people out there, a
Yeah,
lot of real true thought leaders out there. And I think more
passionate.
and more may come out there as they start to see like, hey, this is a great place to have
Yep.
conversations. Because it's just harder to do on these other platforms. I mean, Gail, you could have posted something brilliant on LinkedIn and I won't see it, but if I'm following you or subscribe to you on Substack, I will get that information, and I
So
think
let me
that's a
ask you
big
this,
piece.
and relative to what you just said. So let's say Gail posted at 3 p.m. yesterday, a really good post on Substack, but you may not have seen it at 3 p.m. yesterday on Wednesday, January 21st. How will you know to see her stuff? Like, how would you know?
So
Would you get some
you
kind of
have
a
a y-
notification?
you have a following feed. Well, and so remember, because the words post and note,
Okay,
if
that's
she
right. Note, note,
posted
note,
it,
note, note.
if she posted it, I'm getting an email. If it's a note, they have a following feed that I will see the people I'm following, kind of like
Okay,
Twitter used to do. But you can also, if you want to think of it as Twitter, you can post a note again, and you're not going to get like, well, wait, Kate posted that note yesterday. Why is she doing it again? Because it's kind of that same thing as people get bigger, followings or followers,
mhm,
however you want to look at it, it's sometimes a lot to keep up with every note that came out. So it's okay to like maybe post, once a day,
okay.
something that you really want to emphasize to people.
Okay. One of the things, and many people who follow me know they've heard me talk about this ad nauseum. So if you have a LinkedIn personal profile and you have a VA and your VA is not in your house or your office, this is what LinkedIn puts out. Technically, you should not give out your username and your password credentials to anyone else but you. And this is for your LinkedIn personal profile. You can get super admins for a company page. And LinkedIn has been cracking down on this for 3-4 years now, that if they see that something's happening with someone else. So this is a lot of times if people who are a business person, entrepreneur, and I mean, I totally get this because these people don't have the time to go in and do all the things they want to do. But I caution people, like, you should only be the one going in and editing your own sections of your own personal profile. If you are going to put content out and you have a social media manager or a content marketing person to post your posts on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, then they have access to your accounts. But the way you get around the workaround for LinkedIn is that you have to use a scheduling tool. So I use Agorapulse. So my VA, my social media VA, logs into my Agorapulse, but I personally went into Agorapulse and pulled in all my destinations. I pulled in my Facebook, my LinkedIn, etc. So then she can schedule content that I have approved, and it'll go out into LinkedIn land. And she didn't ever have to log into my personal LinkedIn account. Is there any concerns similar to that with Substack? Like if you have a VA who wants to post once a week and you give them your login credentials for your Substack account, do you get hit?
Actually, it's even better. So
Okay.
what you actually are able to do on your publication, right, not your notes, and that may change, is you can add admins, content creators to your publication.
For
So
free.
for free. So, Christy can, and even myself, I can be one of your admins
Right,
on
which
your
is what I want you
Substack
to be, actually.
publication.
Yep.
And so then if you have a video that you upload or a draft that you upload, you can say, hey, this is what I want you guys to post at this time. Now, they will let you schedule your post,
Oh,
not
they
your
will?
notes.
Okay, from
Yes.
within the Substack
With
interface?
right
Okay.
within the back end. And so what you can't do yet, but I think it's coming, is you can't post a note as the publication. So even if Christy or I posted
Christy,
something,
everybody, just so you know, Christy's my assistant.
yeah, if it would say Christy is posting this on Substack as a note, not
Okay.
she can't be you unless she literally
Okay.
you gave her your login credentials,
Well,
which
that's the other thing I've noticed in sort of being, not a voyeur, but you know what I mean? Like a lurker, a little in the best sense, the last couple of weeks is I'm following people and I've subscribed to a couple. I haven't done any paid because I'm just not ready
right,
yet. I want
right.
to just kind of get my bearings a little bit. But what I love about this platform is that it's definitely, to me, more organic. Like the
Hmm.
people who are posting, you can pretty much bet that they are posting them as themselves.
Yes,
And some of
yes.
the level of the people that are on Substack, are big time, thought leaders, journalists, influencers, whatever you want to call them.
Hmm.
But I also loved, Gail, thank you. This is a great comment. It seems a more intentional, purposeful, and connected slash ongoing communication. And as you say, community building. And she said not to say that it replaces LinkedIn. And
Right.
LinkedIn is that place too. It's just because of the algorithms and things like that. It is more challenging to get your content seen. That's why
Hmm.
I think this is a nice strategy as you get to know Substack, that if you're doing both, you're getting new eyes, new people in a community. Like the people who are seeing me over on Substack are probably not tied into any of my other communities. And that's cool.
Right.
Like that's a good thing. So I'm really excited about this. And I mentioned to you, um, Jim, that I think I'm going to do a follow-up to this show sooner than later, almost like the Substack 201. And I want to bring on another couple guests, some people that you and I know who have a similar philosophy, who have been using it, and it just get some real time kind of people talking about this. And I also think as I start to do some of my public speaking talks, I'm going to start tying in. I might even start to create a talk about, like, LinkedIn and Substack. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I just think this is where we all learn. We all can be a PSA for everybody. It can be a public like you're spreading the good news about something that if you want to put the time in, and the effort into it, this is another channel to get new eyes on your content.
Right. Right.
And you're building,
Absolutely.
and you're truly, and it's really organic. It's kind of the
Yes.
way that, um,
It
Twitter
used
was
to
in the
be.
very beginning. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right. So awesome.
Gail just said in your LinkedIn post, you can probably refer to your Substack link to cultivate that connection. Yes. Right, Jim?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what I do with my LinkedIn newsletters. I always have a link to, because I started out on Substack and then I bring it over to LinkedIn, and I like, if you want to see like the video piece of this post, you have to go to Substack. I don't
Yeah.
bring the video into
Good. I love
LinkedIn.
that. All right. Well, we went a full hour. I can't remember the last time I went a full hour. We had a lot of engagement, though. We had a lot of people watching on
Yes.
Facebook too, actually. So just one final question as we wind down here. What is one mistake that you see, in your own opinion? What is one mistake you see people make when they start on Substack?
I think they get too overwhelmed with feeling like, oh, I've got to be creating these posts all the time. I think it's more about, like I said earlier, just get started, build that know, like, and trust through notes, through getting to know people, and then start planning out what it is you're going to do. And, you know, don't give up, don't quit, because right, we see that a lot with people on
Yep.
platforms. It's not going to be a overnight sensation necessarily. Some people may get that. And then there's another strong piece, and we'll talk about this. This will tease when we do this again. But recommendations. You can recommend other people's Substacks. And I, just from one person alone, have received over 130 subscribers because she recommended my Substack.
Wow.
So I haven't gotten that from LinkedIn. I know you have recommendations.
Yeah, you do. And recommendations are, those are also strategic the way I teach
Yeah.
those. So,
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. Thank you so much, Jim. Just remind us sort of verbally where people can connect with you. So give us your Substack first. I don't know if you made banners
Yes,
for yourself.
I did. I made
There you
banners.
go.
So
Look at that.
there's
Look at
there's the
that. It's
Substack.
almost like you're a producer or something.
Yeah, so that would be number one, Substack, and then we've got LinkedIn. And I was smart enough a long time ago that I was able to get my name without having to put numbers on it.
Yep, I
And
know. Me
and
too.
then here's my email if you
Jim
want to
Fuhs at
email me
Fusion
directly.
Marketing.
Yep. So,
Um,
but
so
this has been fun.
Gail just said,
Yeah.
I love it because it becomes an actual place for your community. So we have so much more to talk about. And I'm excited to go deeper. And I would love Gail or anybody else who's still watching live. I think some people may have signed off by now. But if you'd be open to another show, sort of a little deeper dive on this to go into some of the workings,
Yeah.
just say something like interested, something like that, just so I
Yeah.
have an idea. Because and again, this will be available on the replay. It'll show up as a replay for 30 days on Facebook. It'll be in the replay for LinkedIn. It'll be on my YouTube channel. And if you go to my website, standingoutonline.com, and you go to the Coffee with Kate podcast button, we put all of the recordings in there. It'll take a couple days to get the recording on the website, but it will be available immediately. So Gail says yes. So Jim, you and I can work on another show, and I think I want to get a mutual friend of ours, Vivica Von Rosen, who's
Yes.
also a fellow LinkedIn expert and one of my dear friends. And then I have another person who is a journalist who has been using Substack for a good probably 2-3 years. I'm thinking as we were doing this that it would be really good to bring him on to talk about it from that standpoint.
Yeah.
So
Sounds great.
all right.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, everybody. Feel free, though, if you are watching this on the replay, if you tag me, Kate Payne, Paine, or you tag Jim Fuhs, Fuhs, if you have any questions watching the replay, please tag us and ask your question, even if it's 3 weeks from now, and we will do our best to get back to you and reply. So
Yep.
anyway,
Well, thanks for having me, Kate.
You're welcome. Gail said this has been valuable and a great way to cultivate organic growth. So thanks to you, Jim. You're a wealth of information, and I thank you for your time very much. So please stay on after we say goodbye,
Yep.
but I'll let you do your thing to end the stream.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.